Metalcore techniques. So we're going to look at some different techniques for playing metalcore music, and I'm going to walk you through them and give you a few exercises to practice. My guitar is tuned to drop B, and I will put that tuning in the description. So the first technique we're going to look at is palm muting, and we're going to look at different varieties of palm muting. So with palm muting, you've got the tip of your string here as it hits the bridge. You want your palm just over that. If you get it up too high, it won't sound right. The notes will be too muted and it will be a higher pitch and weak. If you have it back too much, then you won't hear the muting. So I'll show you the differences. So if you have it in the right place, you get that percussive sound. If you have your palm up too high, it's a totally different sound. You can use that sound, but that doesn't want to be the main muted sound that you want. And if you have it back too far, it doesn't really cut the string, so you've got to have it just at the right spot. The next technique is string skipping in your riffs. Okay, so what I'm doing there is picking the D string and the low E string. I'm missing out the A string. So here, okay, and I'm muting part of that riff and then lifting it off a part of it. Okay, so again, on the D string and the E string. So I'm muting it as normal, and I'm going to give you a couple of riffs to practice. That riff there was in triplets because it's 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. So I'm going to give you some riffs in triplets and in semiquavers, which would be 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So here are a few riffs to practice. So the first riff. Okay, so I'm using my first finger to bar the second fret on the E and the D string. So I'm going to hit the D string and then the B string, E string, and that's on the second fret. Little finger's going to come up to the 5th fret. Third finger is going to be on the 4th fret. So, and again slowly. And this finger here, you sort of roll it across as you're playing those strings. So on the D to E, little finger, then third finger, then first finger again, and then we're going to pick 3, 2 on the bottom E string, but we're going to lift our palm off and not mute it. So the first part of the riff is muted. Let me show you this way. Then taking it off to play those last two. So that's another metalcore technique, is switching in between muting and not muting. So that's your first riff in triplets. Now let's look at another riff in triplets. So here's the next riff in triplets. Okay, so now I'm doing some string skipping and adjacent strings. So we've got, I'll show you the fingering. So this is the same as the first riff. Then I'm going to come down to the 5th fret of the A string. So D string to E string, A string to E string, back to the D string on the 4th fret, 5th fret on the D, 4th, 5th on the A, and then 4th on the D. And each time we're just going to be playing the 2nd fret on the low E string as the pedal note there. So again, slowly. So the purpose of this riff is just to get you used to picking on alternate strings and muting those riffs. So here is a string skipping riff using semiquavers. So the pattern here is on the D and the E string again. So that's 7 and 7, and this time we're going to play 1 on this string and 3 on this string. Okay, and that's 7 and 7, 10, 9, 5 and 5, 8 and 7. So where before we were playing triplets, which was 1 on the D and 2 on the bottom E, this time we're playing 1 on the D and 3 on the E. And slowly one more time. And you should practice these riffs muted and unmuted. Here's another riff using semiquavers and string skipping. The difference here is we're going to play 4 notes on each of the strings. So and again, practice muting and not muting. Okay, so little finger on 8 on the D and first finger on 5 on the E. Then 7 on the D and then 6 on the A. So, and the right hand a little bit slower. So another technique in metalcore is flicking between open strings and fretted strings. Getting the timing right when you're playing open and fretted strings can sometimes be quite difficult. So here's another riff you can just practice on a scale. And we're going to play 2 notes and then open. So we're going to play 17, 15 open, 15, 13 open, 13, 12 open, 12, 10 open, 10, 8 open, 8, 7 open, 7, 5 open, 5, 3 open, 3, 1 open. And you can do this with four notes. And you can do this on every string. Okay, and it's about being accurate so that the open note doesn't sound different to the fretted notes. So another technique in metalcore is creating simple power chord progressions. So and quite often you've got one guitar playing that and another guitar playing a melody or arpeggios over the top. Another technique used in metalcore quite a lot is an interval of a semitone. So I'll give you an example. We've got an E here and we have an E here, but you want to play an E flat and an E together, so it'll sound like that. Okay, that's just an example there. So we've got an interval here of 4 frets. So fret 5, and fret 8. I'm just going to play those two strings. Okay, and you can move that shape around. If you're playing on other strings, the interval is slightly more. So there you'd have an interval here of 5 frets. Another technique used in metalcore is a walking riff. So you're picking the same pattern with your right hand. But your left hand is doing the moving around. Another technique would be tapping, but instead of tapping a solo like Van Halen might do, you're tapping an actual riff. And that sometimes again would be held over power chords, for example. That little riff I was doing there is all on the D string, and we're tapping 11, pulling off to the 5, hitting down with the little finger on the 8. And then we're going to tap 12 and pull off to 8, 7, 5. So slowly, one more time. And then I'm coming up to 14, down 5 to 8, 15, so that's, and again slowly, so that's 11, 5, 8, 12, 8, 7, 5, 14, 5, 8, 15, 8, 7, 5. So to keep your riff sounding clean, you're obviously playing this note here, but the fleshy part of your finger here is going to be on the other strings to stop them ringing out. The bottom two strings, I'm using that with the fleshy part of my hand here. So if I now pick these, we're not getting anything because that fleshy bit there, right here, is on those strings. Okay, and this part is this part of the finger is muting the other strings. So you don't want it sounding like this. Now that sounds terrible. You need to keep it all muted. The other thing is, you notice that I'm tapping with my middle finger because I want to keep this pick in this hand, so that when I'm coming out of that, I'm ready to pick and I don't have to swap it round or do any jiggery pokery here. I can just go straight in from picking to tapping, from picking to tapping. Another technique is sweep picking in your riffs. Okay, so all I'm doing there is on the G, I'm playing 12, 11, 10, 9. But this hand, it's all one movement here. So we're going to start on the G string with an upstroke. Okay, and I'm not picking individual, I'm picking that note and then resting it on the next string. Okay, so the whole riff is then open, 12, 11, 10, 9. And then open again. So again slowly.